Hey, ladies. All right. So I wrote a post a little while ago and it was brought to my attention that I really needed to share it. I am a natural encourager. And one of the reasons for that is because I love to be encouraged. That is my love language, baby. Words of affirmation, right? Bring it. So, because I like to be loved that way, it is how I love others. It's just natural. I say the things that I would want to hear if I were in their shoes. And so, it's actually been a really great benefit for me to help teach women how to encourage their husbands because for whatever reason it's just not natural for them. And there's five love languages, right, according to that book that I never read. And encouraging is only one of them. Maybe that's not your love language, or maybe it is, but for some reason in your marriage you struggle because you're married to a sinner and he ticks you off, and so you've gotten out of the habit of encouraging him. So I want to share with you the tips that I wrote in the post, that I have found there are women who need to hear these because it's not natural for them. Tip one to encouraging your husband: stop whining. Girl, quit acting like being married to him is so awful. And when I say this, and you're probably not like up in his face being like, gosh, you suck, I don't want to be married to you. But if you're constantly complaining that the house isn't big enough, or if you're constantly complaining that you really wish that you could go on more vacations, or you're like things that you're not thinking about are discouraging to him, probably are if you find yourself complaining a lot. And again, maybe you're not even thinking about it as complaining. You're just wishing for a different future. Y'all, I have future desires that I wish for our family, for our house, for our yard. But I have learned to be very careful about how often I bring them up and the way I bring them up. Because if I whine about what it's like to be married to him, it is very discouraging. He feels like he's not providing. And y'all, my husband has provided a beautiful home. He puts food on the table, clothes on our back, so just be careful. Now, that leads into tip number two. Stop whining and be thankful. So instead of complaining that the house isn't big enough, maybe thank him for providing a house for you at all. Don't have a house? Have an apartment? Thank him for providing an apartment for you. You got gas in your car? Babe, thank you for going to work every single day this week so that I could have grocery money. So that, just little things like that. It doesn't have to be a lot. Y'all, if his plate made it from the kitchen table to the sink, say thank you. Thanks for cleaning up your spot, babe. I appreciate it. Did his laundry end up next to the hamper but not in it? Drives me crazy. But you know what? Thanks, babe. Thanks for making it a little easier. Everything was in one spot. It was that much easier for me. Because there have been times where my husband's clothes have been strewn all over the room, right? So be thankful that it was one step closer, right? It was better. What little things can you be thankful for? They don't have to be astronomical. Sometimes just thanking him for going to work is something he needs to hear. Or better yet, babe, I know you've been at work all day. Thank you for eating dinner with us and just playing with the kids. Just being present. Thank you. It matters, y'all. Okay, so that's tip number two. I'm scrolling on my computer because I'm looking at my post. Tip three, be his cheerleader in public. When you are around other people, do you have a habit of tearing your husband down, whether he's there or not? Like in front of him, you might not tear him down, but you probably do it when he's not around. Like you'll just kind of bash him, say, oh man, my husband never, blah, 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 blah. Y'all, I'm guilty too. I am so guilty of that. We all do it, right? We all vent our frustrations. But try to mentally get yourself into being like, no, I'm his cheerleader, right? If anybody's going to say anything good about my husband, I want to be the first one to be that person. Cheer him on in public in that way. Encourage him. Compliment him. Now, maybe he has a big ego and you're like, no, Allison, complimenting him is only going to make his ego bigger. Well, then find ways to compliment him that he's not already feeling really good about. Every man has insecurities, every single one. So make a point of encouraging, of tapping into those insecurities in a way that cheers him on. And when you do it in front of other people, what a difference it makes. Oh my goodness. Okay, so be his cheerleader in public. Be his cheerleader at home. So here's the thing. We can cheer our husband on when we're at church, right? We can cheer our husband on when we're, at a friend's house for dinner, but then we get home and we are ripping him to pieces behind the curtain. Nobody can see how we're talking to him, but we are disrespecting him. We are undermining him. We are basically telling him, you're not good enough, and I'm willing to put on the show outside these doors, but not inside our home. Stop. Okay? Make a point of encouraging your husband and being his cheerleader in the home, particularly in front of your children. Do you want to know why little boys struggle with growing up into men? Because they're so busy watching mommies treat daddy like crap. And so they struggle with wondering what being a husband and a father looks like. Maybe your husband is a crappy husband. I don't know. Maybe he is a crappy dad. I don't know. But you don't have to point that out in front of your kids. But on the contrary, just try. What if your husband, who's not naturally a great dad, does one single thing this week that is like, hey, that was a good dad move. Okay, I don't care if maybe he changed a diaper. Maybe he poured juice at the table. I don't care what it was. Encourage it. Point it out. It will make all the difference. Okay, be your husband's cheerleader in the home. All right, that was tip 4. Tip 5, and this is a big one. Pray for him. Pray for your husband. Pray for his purity of his eyes and of his heart. Pray that at work he will do his job with integrity. Don't necessarily pray that his life is easy, because that doesn't help anybody, right? Sanctification comes through trials. So if you want him to grow spiritually, he has to walk hard things. But you can pray that he does things with integrity, that he does the right thing when no one else is looking, that he treats others with respect, that he is kind, that he will do things out of a heart that wants to bring Christ glory and wants to show that Christians, y'all, there are so many people that say they're a Christian on Sunday and they do not live it Monday through Saturday. Pray that your husband would be the kind of man that lives out his Christianity all week long. Now, all of these, bundle them up into something that I have started doing with my husband. And I'm not gonna lie, it was super awkward at first because our marriage wasn't really great at the time, but what a difference it made. I started texting him my prayers and little scripture verses. And sometimes it was, I also text him silly memes. I flirt with him. Heck yeah, I'll flirt with him on text message. But the biggest thing that I started doing was texting him scripture and letting him know, I prayed for you today. I prayed that XYZ would happen or wouldn't happen, right? I prayed that you'd have an opportunity to share Jesus today. I prayed that the bad weather would not make you sit in traffic on your way to and from work today. Little things like that. Y'all, if he knows that his wife is praying for him, what a difference it can make. And you won't know if it makes a difference until you start doing it. And in the beginning, if you are not naturally an encourager, or if you just haven't been doing this, your husband might almost like, what are you doing? Like, you're being weird. What do you want? Like, did you do something that I need to know about? Or you gotta apologize. Like, be careful that you don't give up before you begin to see fruit. So commit to this. I actually have a Worthy of Praise challenge that I've done a couple different times. But it's that idea of like, think of things every single day that are worthy of praise of a person that you're having a challenging relationship with, and like write them down, okay? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna transfer that Worthy of Praise challenge into encouragement of your husband challenge. Every single day, today is Monday, every single day for the next 7 days, I want you to encourage your husband, whether that is in public, whether that is at home, whether that is through telling him that you prayed for him, through a text message, whatever it is. Oh, and not whine. I want you to consciously think, okay, today I am not going to say that thing that I wish I want a new washer and dryer. Oh my gosh, I want a new washer and dryer, and this one just isn't working well, and blah, blah. Hold your tongue. Don't say it today, okay? So, how to encourage your husband. There's the 5 ways to do it. I actually have a blog post. If you want to get those again and actually get a little bit more detail and some more examples, you can read the blog post. I will share that. But y'all, let's do it. Let's change the culture of man hating, of husband hating. Let's build up our men. Let's encourage them to be godly husbands and godly fathers. It starts with the wife. We're the ones that start that change. Y'all have a great week.